And we're back. Welcome back again to WTF is SRE. And without any further ado, I am very excited and happy to introduce to you Tobias Fischer, who's going to bring us our next talk. Tobias, take it away.
So before I start, I want just to set up a little bit the theme and talk about the situation about DevOps and SRE teams and security. So DevOps and SRE teams that drive innovation. I like more the frame of innovation instead of, let me say, digitization and of course reliability. So you are the guys who are implementing the next generation of, I don't know, crypto trading apps or the next parking app. And of course, it's about reliability, because if the crypto app's not working, it's not stable, I will just move away and will go to one of your competitor. And because you want to change the world, and it's about scale. And typical, the environments where we are talking about, there are about complex, high scalable environments where many changes happens. So if you look, for example, even if it's now Kubernetes, or maybe there's also some Cloud Foundry, if you just compare this environment 1 year back, you will see they're not the same. And even new technologies, especially in the public cloud sector, like serverless and so on, will come up. The third topic where also security has a concern about is the velocity of deployments. So I see so many heads of developments, CTOs, and what they have announced is, so please do multiple production releases per day. And in many organizations, they build up solid CI/CD pipelines to do this. But again, the question is, if you are shipping software that fast, how can you be aware about that there is no security threat inside? And that's exactly my question. So where is the security exactly? And if we look about in the SRE world, it's in many cases they say, no, that's not my job. It's not me at my part. In DevOps, there exists something what's called DevSecOps, or sometimes it's called SecOps. But if we look closer into that, we will see that's often only in test, and it ends when software is shipped to production. And if it runs in production, it's a little bit like, yeah, it's away. And because vulnerabilities are sometimes detected later, so you cannot avoid that vulnerable code is shipped. And if you have some hackers around, so breaches will happen. And the best thing, how good your security is in your organization, is always let's have the worst scenario, what happens when a security incident occurs in production. And here, then all the modern stuff of DevOps, of SRE, then you fall back in many times to the old world. They're saying, no, this has to be handled by the classic security teams, and war rooms are created. But the thing is this, the classic security teams, so the tools, the processes, what they have, when they look just at firewalls, at the network, this doesn't longer fit in this kind of, let me say, cloud native, always with changes environment. And that's the reason why we from AppDynamics, together with Cisco, we built a security solution. And to make a little bit more about what we built, I just want to make some use cases. And therefore, I have started a small role play. What I'm doing now, if I'm just putting this baseball cap, then I'm one of the SRE guys. And without the baseball cap, I'm one of the security guy. So let's start to make you aware about what is about security. Hey guys, can I add a security tool to your app? Oh, baseball cap. Let's do this. Yeah, sure. So is it code what you want to put in? Because we have this new environment in Kubernetes or an Ansible playbook. Code. I used to program with Visual Basic. Do you mean that, or in Ansible? No, don't think so. But stop shot. Here's also something missing. So please have a look. You see what's missing? Ah, now it's better. The baseball cap was not there. Okay, let's go to the next use case. So vulnerability scanning. I'm scanning the website and all the public interfaces on Tuesday. Is this okay? We had some problem when we upgraded the Kubernetes environment, and therefore the deployment is now scheduled for Wednesday. Is this a problem, guys? Okay, let's go to the next. Vulnerability reports. Yeah, we scanned the source repository and also the file system, and here's the list of these 1,000 vulnerabilities we found, which I mentioned at lunchtime, okay? Thanks. Is there any kind of prioritization? We have to ship innovation software. What? Oh. And last use case to give you a feeling about, it's about when really the worst case happens. Oh, our tools have reported an attack. So now the business is really, really concerned. Can you please tell what app was breached on 10/11/34? We have no clue. So we built this new Kubernetes cluster, and we have currently 20 applications onboarded. So workloads are shifted automatically. No idea. Do you have any kind of other information? Okay, I think that was a little bit the role play to make you a little bit aware about and setting up the scene. And now I want to introduce you what is the solution. So the solution was that we as AppDynamics, we have long experience with APM. We used our APM knowledge together with the security knowledge of Cisco, and we built what we called a runtime application self-protection solution. So the thing is we used our APM agent, and we just extended the agent with something what's called Secure App, which used bytecode instrumentation. And therefore, our agent runs inside, in the first version, it's Java, in the Java runtime like a library. Or the agent is nothing else than a jar file. And you add this jar file the same way like a JDBC driver or anything else at startup. For modern cloud environments, for example, Kubernetes, there's also an auto instrumentation or Helm scripts you can use. And then we get automatically control over app security. Like, for example, we do see vulnerability, which the class loader has really loaded, and not just libraries which are maybe on the file system. And we also can see and protect attacks. And because we have this experience, so it's a minimal overhead with GPU and of disk consumption. And of course, we are planning to expand this to all the other famous languages which you are using in your current environment. So this is now more like a marketing slide, and I like to use the time to dive better into the product, because I think then it's a little bit more clear. So let's go. So this is secure application. So my agents are deployed, and it doesn't matter if it's a Kubernetes, if it's a traditional or an AWS or whatever environment or hybrid. And this is just the cockpit where I started. I have an overview about vulnerabilities, about attacks, and which application or Cisco secure application is onboarded. When I have a look at the libraries, I see which libraries have vulnerabilities. The first good thing is I see the risk score. And so these are really low-hanging fruits, because just remember before in my role play that maybe you found hundreds of vulnerabilities. Here, these are the fix first. The next one, which is really nice, the tool gives you also the information in which application and what type of pod or application tier this library has some kind of vulnerabilities. And if you use AppDynamics, it's not mandatory. You can also use the solution without AppDynamics. You have also here a link back, and then it gives you much, much more information, like the services, the business transaction, all the information the business needs. And of course, it also gives you some information how to fix this. If I'm looking deeper inside, it gives you exact information about which series are in these vulnerabilities, and also the kind of information. We got this CV from the CV database, and what we do, is we update the repository every 24 hours. That means even after deployment, we are scanning all the libraries which the class loader has in the jar file, and we give you information if new vulnerabilities comes up. And really nice is our attack protection. So we can attack, we can see attacks. That means we can observe them, but we can also block them. So stuff like, for example, in untrusted deserialization or in remote code execution, or maybe if there is a local file inclusion and so on. And just for example, like let's look, for example, here at an RCE, which is a remote code execution. So because we are part of the application, we can see automatically all the information, what happens, where it happens, which application. We could also give information when it happens, that it's still open. And here we also got useful information for troubleshoot the issue. For example, here in this remote code execution, we can see what happens that someone was trying to start something what called a process builder, and maybe someone was trying to encrypt all the hard disk and so on. Also important is to understand where this happened in my source code. Is it a library which I used? Maybe is it in my code? And we also give the complete stack trace. We can copy the stack trace very easily here. We can send them over to a developer, and we can see, please have a look. It looks like that you're using some kind of libraries, or it's maybe direct in your code, and this causes this that someone was able to attack our system. And of course, sometimes you want to block it. It's okay to observe it. You could also always change this policy depending on the use case. So that's a little bit all I want to show for today. Let's stop the, let's go back. How can I stop it here? And now I want to open it for a short Q&A, if we still have time. I don't know.
Hey, yeah, for sure. Let's take a look. I'm quickly gonna catch up on our questions. No new questions yet, but there has been a message saying, awesome to show the use case issues to solve with a role play all by yourself. Many exclamation marks. So yeah, lots of excitement. Thanks so much for the talk. But there's usually, we're finding there's a couple of questions coming through, like, because there's a bit of a delay. So do you have any tips for people trying to go in the same route, go in the same direction, and build up these amazing skills?
Yeah, I think you have to understand how the current security process is working. And I think it has to be closer I would say more in the DevOps than in the SRE teams. But this is important because I think it was just recently in the news that more and more systems are attacked. And there has to be a change. It has to be inside the application. And I found it interesting if you look at the whole agile world, that dev and ops and that these people are work more together. But if you look for infrastructure people like security, they're still separated. They're still an own team. They're still not included. And that's a little bit where you should start out, like building really a common team instead of having these silos.